or last place, what you and I call it, and the Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco debate rages on as the Washington Capitals take on the Tampa Rays here in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll be down in Tampa, Florida, that is, and on the other side of the state this weekend, they'll be playing some golf. This guy is our man on the scene for all things golf locally, and certainly down at Compass Pointe Golf Course, where they have their own craft beer open happening this weekend. We welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Canady joins us after a brief respite around here in the Buckets and Birds division. You can find him out on Twitter at Buckets and Birds. He, of course, covers college basketball when things got spicy around here with UMBC during the year. Now out onto the links where things are a little spicy down at Ponte Vedra this weekend, where I once famously made a tee shot up onto the green on 17. So I'm always a watcher of all things Jacksonville and TPC. Welcome in, Robert Canady. How are things down at Compass Pointe as we get ready for some more drama out on the PGA course this weekend, right?
Yeah, Nestor, I think, the golf weather is finally here, I think. We've had a good week of, 70-plus degree temperatures out here on the course in the area, so it's something I think everyone's been waiting for, even though it wasn't a horrible winter, it just seemed like it was just cold and damp, the whole spring and everything. So,
dude, all winters are horrible. I mean, I don't know how people, people go skiing. Billick goes skiing. I'm like, why in the world would I fly off to someplace worse than it is here in February? I know it's beautiful. I know they got hot chocolate at the lodge and all that, but, that's one thing we share with the golf thing is I like me some good weather now, Robert Canady,
Oh, absolutely. It's great. I've, started shedding the pullovers and wearing the polos, and you've got everyone out in shorts, and the tee sheets are packed, and the grass is green. So everything that you think about golf, it's great to see. We have our outing seasons in full force. We do a lot of those charity and corporate outings that raise funds for organizations. So we had a few of those recently, and some other corporate ones coming up. So it's a busy time of year here at the course, and I love it. Like you said, it's gives me a break from college basketball and everything, and for several months, and hit the white ball and chase it around.
Well, the bad news is you got to mow the lawn now, right? I mean, that's
right. Well, yeah, we have people to do that.
Well, I know you got your craft beer open this weekend. We're certainly going to give you a chance to talk about that down at Compass Pointe. If you're around this weekend, we'll let you know about that. You can go to compasspointegolf.com. But on the circuit and where we are with Tiger Woods and with Jason Day and bringing up the legend of LeBron James and the inspiration, all that, it is a very interesting golf season because there is no one dominant force, and as I think we saw at Augusta and we've seen all along, there are a lot of very capable players out on this tour. Maybe unlike the Tiger era where you expected him to win every week, on a week-to-week basis, it's much more fun for guys like you to come on and make predictions because every single weekend there's a new story and I guess maybe a new sort of storyline to follow, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. The game of golf, to me, is in such a great place right now with all these young players, the guys we've talked about, over the last year, the Jordan Spieths, the Jason Days, the Dustin Johnsons, the Justin Thomases. Just every week, any one of them, could be referred to as the best player in the world. It's funny, Dustin Johnson has had the title for a little bit over a year now, but he hasn't really won since early in the year, so people are saying, what's wrong with Dustin Johnson, because you got Jason Day winning last week. You've had Justin Thomas win a couple times, and, a lot of people will say he's the best player in the world right now. It's just a matter of time before he officially overtakes Dustin Johnson, but we'll see. I still think when Dustin Johnson's playing his best, other than Rory McIlroy, there's probably not anyone better than him. It usually comes down to his putting. He drives it as far as anyone, hits irons as high and as far as anyone. And if he's putting, he's going to be tough to beat, just like Rory. Rory's right there. We saw a few weeks ago when he won that, he can overpower a course and just really run away from the field. But then again, he can have an off week where he'll struggle, and that gives the opportunity for the others, the Jason Days, the Ricky Fowlers, to step up, or someone new like this kid, Aaron Wise, this last weekend that was, took Jason Day right down to the wire at the tournament down in Charlotte. Looks like, he's going to be another great player. So
we still see Mickelson showing up on leaderboards too, right? I mean, it's not like all of this is unfamiliar, and especially with Tiger coming back, if you're still in the Tiger lover camp. And, look, I had Armin Katayan on a couple weeks ago. I got a copy of the book if you want to borrow it, on Tiger and all that. That he is still so relevant as a factor. It kind of in the same way LeBron is very relevant all these years in, that Tom Brady is still relevant all these years in. There is that part of beat the champ that still exists in those places for these sort of legends that are still walking. But, Tiger had become a bit of a joke. He's not a joke anymore, right? I mean, we're not talking about him as not a factor. We're talking about him as, if things go right and the weather blows right, he's capable of winning.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll admit, I said this to someone over this past weekend. I was one of the people a year ago that was, saying he's done. When he was found asleep in the middle of the night on the road in Florida, with his, all drugged up and everything from his painkillers, I thought that was the end of him. He had just come off the back surgery, his fourth one, and you're thinking, boy, how fast and, not really fast. I guess it's taken over 10 years, that he had fallen, throughout the different circumstances. But to be here a year later and not just playing golf, but hitting the ball farther than he did to begin with and challenging, he had a couple top 10 finishes already this year, and he's won twice at the Players Championship. The last time was 2013, I believe, like 5 years ago. So Phil Mickelson and he will be paired together this week, and Mickelson was on the Tiger Woods Love Fest train earlier in some press conferences, which was funny to see, saying that, Tiger, can still play. He was the best ever at one point. And
well, it is good for the game. I mean, it's better to be talking about him than not at any point. I mean, same thing would be said about LeBron or anyone who's built that kind of a star. I mean, you don't want to see Tom Brady win, but there's something about him playing in January that is different than, anyone else playing in January, quite frankly, right?
Right, yeah, and it'll be neat because golf being such an individualistic sport, you'll get to see all these young guys take their shot at Tiger, So maybe one of them will be paired with him on Saturday or Sunday and get to go head-to-head with them. Because when Tiger was at his prime, 2008 when he won his last major, most of these guys were still in junior high school, or high school. Most of them are in their mid to early 20s, and they never played against Tiger in their prime. They grew up watching him, and he's the reason that they're out there playing golf, and he inspired them, and they wanted to be like him. And now they have a chance to play on a major stage with him, this weekend, and go head to head with him, and so it'll absolutely be fun to watch.
He is Robert Canady. He is Buckets and Birds out on Twitter, and of course down at Compass Pointe, where they play golf and they drink beer and they have events and they do things. And certainly when you put the beer into the name of the title, as you've done this week, the 2018 Craft Beer Open, yes, it's true, at Compass Pointe Golf. You can learn more at Compass Pointe. That's Point with a silent E, but the E's really there if you're typing it down in Pasadena. $85, two-person scramble. It's going to be happening down there. And the word is that beer will be served. It will be wet and cold, unlike that European warm stuff they serve, right?
Oh, yes, you can count on that. It'll be plentiful, and it'll be flowing, and it'll be cold, all that. And, it looks like the weather's going to be good again this weekend, and, the golf courses, as we've talked about, are in great shape, and this is always one of the favorite events of the year.
Well, it's got beer in the title, dude. I mean, who's not
right?
Right?
Any chance we can, with the Irish Open earlier in the year, we had some Irish whiskey, so this is a chance to get some beer flowing for the beer drinkers, and and a chance to be out there in nice weather playing it. And, like I said, playing some golf for some fun, some good food afterwards, and some competition. So, yeah, it's definitely filling up, but there's definitely spots available so people can go online and register for it.
Tell me what you guys do down there. By the way, forecast is 87 and sunny on Saturday. So there you have it, right?
That'll work.
That's beer drinking weather, as I can tell. Hope it doesn't sneak into the 90s or get too rancidly humid out there, but there's supposed to be a little bit of breeze. What else do you guys do down there? You do these kinds of events, in-house events and stuff like that, but certainly for anybody looking to have a corporate or charity outing or just looking to come out and play this weekend, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the great thing is we have two courses, 36 holes. So oftentimes we have one course open where the public is out here playing, and people just made their own tee times and come out and play. Then the other course will have an event going on, whether it's our in-house event like the Craft Beer Open, or whether it's a charity fundraiser for a cancer cause, or to raise money for a lot of the local high schools have some fundraisers, and when they're trying to raise money for their athletic departments or their bands to go on field trips or to competitions and out-of-state cheerleading competitions, band competitions, things like that. A lot of the major companies in the area have, they'll bring their clients out for an outing or have their big, shindig every year where they'll, take a day off work and they'll bring in, 100 of their employees and customers out and treat them to, a full day of golf and beer and food. So, yeah, we can put those together, whether you have 20 people or whether you have, 300 people, whether your budget, is minimal, like $50 a person or $100 a person. We'll figure out something to make it work for them.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody thinks they see me running around Pasadena this week, it's true. It might actually be me between Compass Pointe down there at Bella Napoli and our friends down in the Pasadena area. So get those waxed bikini greens ready for me. I'll hit some tee shots and play around a little bit this weekend as well. The Craft Beer Open is Saturday at Compass Pointe down in Pasadena. You can learn more there. And, of course, you can always follow Robert Canady at Buckets and Birds. Nothing going on college basketball, right? That's dormant for you. That's sort of like a caterpillar. You got two things, the caterpillar and the butterfly. The butterfly's coming out right now, right?
Right, yeah. The biggest thing going on with it right now is some guys are making their transfer decisions. They've announced they're going to transfer, and some of them are making those decisions. There's some late signees, guys that weren't really highly recruited that did well in some of the spring games, and get a late offer, or when a school finds out they have a spot open due to a transfer. The next big thing will be in mid to late June and July when a lot of the freshmen actually get on campus and start doing summer workouts. And then a lot of the schedules will become public around that time. So that's the next milestone on the calendar for me. I'll probably get out to UMBC and Towson, both of those during the summer, and catch up with, Ryan Odom and his group, see what they're going to do for an encore next year. It was kind of neat the other day. I was watching the Kentucky Derby, and they were leading into it talking about all the long shots and, how long shots have a chance in horse racing. They actually showed highlights of the UMBC victory over Virginia as an example of long shots. So it was kind of neat to relive that for a moment.
We thought that the weekend it happened, right? Like, we thought, like, forever they'll, like, the word chaminade in any vernacular for people our age, that's what it means, right? I mean, and 35 years later, chaminade, I don't. That was more than 35 years ago with Ralph Sampson, right? So you still talk about it all these years later. UMBC has now entered that vernacular. That will be the ultimate underdog, and we will hear about that. Not just in March, right, to your point. Like, we know we're going to hear about it the next time the brackets come out, 47 weeks from now or whenever that is, that will be a forever basketball thing. But it's transcended basketball now. It's moved to sports, and it might even move to, real-world issues when you're talking about being a little UMBC. That's kind of a neat branding for the university, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I read an article recently as far as about just overall the president Roboski there, a lot of the travels he's done since March where he's been, and people, he used to have to spend so much time telling them who UMBC was, where they were, and everything, and now there was immediate name recognition. So just like you said, even away from the sports arena, that name, it's going to be known nationally because it's been shown, all throughout the month of March. And now, like I said, in other events, anytime you're talking about an underdog, or the first team to do something that's never been accomplished before, they're going to be one of the examples that's shown. And that's, it's something that, as they said back then, no one will ever be able to take that away from them. There will never be another first team to be the 16 to be the one. It may happen again. May happen next year, but they will always have been the first one to do it, and that's the one most people will remember.
Only thing that would have made it better is if UMBC were in Dundalk instead of Catonsville, but we'll let Catonsville have that for now, Robert Canady. Hey, man, right. Stay shaded down there. Make sure you're SPFing, and by all means, hydrate this weekend at the Craft Beer Open, okay? Make sure you do that for me.
Absolutely. A little beer, a little water, a little beer, a little water, right? So...
Yeah, if that's the direction you tend to go, and that's fine. That is craft beer. Don't get filled up on the stouts out there on an 87-degree day. Robert, take care of yourself, man. Hit him straight this weekend, all right?
All right, Nestor. We'll talk to you soon.
Robert Canady, Compass Pointe Golf and Buckets and Birds out on Twitter. Our sponsors, our friend, and, of course, Robert keeping us up to date on all things college basketball locally, as well as the golf course. So He's multi-dimensional around here. What do they say? A two-sports standout. You can find me out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Our morning newspaper ships directly to your email inbox digitally. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com, where it's still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. And, of course, we're going to have those entries for not just the Preakness, but everything happening at Pimlico at the front of WNST.net, as well as in our morning newspaper each and every morning. And I was down at Laurel over the weekend. It was fantastic. The weather is gearing up nicely. The music, the bands, something about beer. How about the Preakness in a beer cup? You can't do better than a beer cup. So do that out in the infield next week. Keep it here. Bob Baffert, we'll hear from Lafitte Pinkai. We'll hear from Marty McGee. All the usual suspects and prospects. Randy Moss. They'll all be checking in next week here. Kenny Mayne at WNST.net. I've got it all ready to go for Preakness. So stay out of the way. My wife has picked out a hat for the Preakness. Watch out. The Bahia Toyota Audio Vault is there for that, as well as, when you want to listen live, you want to listen to anything we do here on the racing side, the Orioles side, the Raven, Lamar Jackson, Flacco stuff, anything getting you ready for the Capitals this week with the Tampa Bay Bolts, as well as the Tampa Bay Rays coming to town with the Orioles this weekend. Busy time around here in May. Good to be with you. Nasty at WNST.net finds me anytime, anywhere. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. Anywhere you go on Facebook Live and YouTube, WNSTV, I might pop up. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.